You think the world owes you kindness. You believe that playing by the rules will shield you from life's brutal realities. Let me shatter that illusion immediately. Every day, millions wake up expecting fairness, compassion, and justice, only to be crushed by a world that operates on entirely different principles. Today, we solve the most dangerous problem plaguing the modern mind, the fatal belief that virtue alone will protect you from a ruthless world. I will show you why Machiavelli understood what most never will. That power, not goodness, determines your fate. The world you live in is not governed by fairness. It is governed by strategy. Behind every smile lies a calculation. Behind every friendship, a purpose. And behind every act of kindness, a motive. Those who fail to understand this truth walk blindly through a world designed to exploit them. The weak are not destroyed because they are hated. They are destroyed because they are predictable. You see, weakness does not mean lack of strength. It means lack of awareness. It means being unaware of how the world truly operates. The weak think honesty protects them. They believe goodness will earn them safety. They imagine that if they treat others with sincerity, they will be treated the same. But the world does not operate on moral exchange. It operates on advantage. When a wolf sees a lamb, it does not think of fairness, it thinks of opportunity. The weak live in a moral fantasy, while the calculating live in reality. You must understand that men, by their very nature, act out of self-interest. Even the most virtuous of them are guided by gain. They will help you when it benefits them and abandon you when it does not. Therefore, if you wish to survive, you must remove the illusion that people act from pure goodness. They do not. They act from necessity. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you stop being prey. The weak are eaten not because they are kind, but because they are predictable. They react with emotion. They trust too soon, they speak too much. Their goodness becomes their weakness, and their transparency becomes their downfall. The calculating man studies this weakness. He watches how emotion clouds judgment, how fear forces decisions, and how guilt chains people to others who do not deserve it. The calculating man is not cruel, he is aware. To survive in such a world, you must become aware too. You must stop expecting others to play by rules that only you believe in. No one will protect you out of pity. No one will save you because you are pure. The world rewards intelligence, control, and strategy. It does not reward virtue. It never has. History remembers those who win, not those who played fair and lost. You must learn to see the hidden intentions behind every gesture. When someone offers you help, ask yourself what they gain from it. When someone praises you, question why. When someone gives you advice, wonder who it truly serves. The weak accept words at face value. The strong read the silence behind them. Ruthlessness begins not with violence, but with perception. It begins when you stop letting emotion dictate your choices and start letting reason lead your path. Being ruthless does not mean being cruel to others. It means being honest with yourself. It means understanding that not everyone deserves your kindness. It means knowing when to forgive and when to defend. It means realizing that protecting your peace sometimes requires offending others. The weak think ruthlessness is evil. The wise know it is protection. The moment you begin to act with awareness, people's behavior around you changes. Those who once took advantage of your silence will now hesitate. Those who once expected your submission will now question your strength. They will feel something they never did before: fear. Not fear of harm, but fear of losing control over you. And that is when the balance of power begins to shift. You see, the lion is not respected because he roars all the time. He is respected because everyone knows he can. You do not need to prove your power. You only need to make it known that crossing you comes with consequence. The ruthless are not always violent, but they are always capable. That is why the calculating respect them and the weak envy them. If you wish to survive in this world, learn to be both kind and dangerous. Let your kindness be a choice, not a weakness. Let your silence be strategic, not submissive. Let your patience be strength, not fear. Because when the world knows that beneath your calmness lies capability, no one dares to test you. Ruthlessness is not about destruction. It is about awareness, control, and precision. It is about knowing when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to forgive and when to end things without hesitation. It is the art of power wrapped in the disguise of peace. And until you master that art, the world will continue to feed on your innocence and call it fate. Mercy is a beautiful word, but without power, it is hollow. The weak believe that mercy is a virtue in itself. They think that by forgiving easily, by showing endless compassion, they are proving their goodness. But in truth, mercy without the strength to enforce respect is nothing more than surrender disguised as morality. The world does not honor a merciful man who has no power. It only tolerates him for as long as he is useful. Look around you. Those who are praised for their mercy are often the ones who could destroy, but choose not to. The lion who spares his prey is admired, but the lamb who forgives the wolf is a fool. The difference is not in their morality, but in their position of strength. The lion's mercy is respected because everyone knows what he is capable of. The lamb's mercy is ignored because it costs him everything. To show mercy, you must first have the power to do otherwise. A ruler who is weak and merciful invites rebellion. A man who is powerless and merciful invites disrespect. When you show mercy from weakness, people see it as fear. They mistake your restraint for inability. And once they believe you cannot defend yourself, they will test you, manipulate you, and eventually destroy you. This is the cruel truth of human nature. People respect what they fear losing, not what they freely possess. To be merciful in the Machiavellian sense is not to forgive everyone. It is to choose when forgiveness serves your interests. Mercy must be strategic, not emotional. You must ask yourself, does my mercy strengthen my position, or does it weaken it? Does it buy me loyalty, or does it invite disobedience? Every act of mercy must be calculated like a move on a chessboard. Precise, intentional, and never impulsive. The weak man forgives because he fears confrontation. He avoids conflict not out of wisdom but out of insecurity. He calls it peace, but in truth it is submission. The powerful man, however, forgives when it benefits him. He knows that showing mercy at the right moment can build alliances, inspire loyalty, and calm rebellion. His mercy has weight because his strength is undeniable. You must understand, being feared and being hated are not the same. Fear protects, hatred destroys. When people fear your strength, they obey your boundaries. When they hate your weakness, they exploit it. The man who wishes to be loved by all will be loved by none for long. Love fades when others no longer need you. Fear, however, endures because it reminds people of consequence. In the pursuit of power, mercy is not your weapon, power is. Mercy is a signal you send after victory, not during defeat. If you show it too early, it will be seen as desperation. If you show it after control is established, it becomes a gesture of strength. That is why a ruler must strike first, then forgive later. He must prove that his kindness is a choice, not a weakness. To be truly merciful, you must be dangerous first. For what value is there in forgiving someone who knows you cannot punish them? What meaning does restraint have if you never had the ability to act otherwise? Real mercy requires strength, because only the strong have something to withhold. Only the strong can make others feel the weight of their decision to forgive. The weak believe that by being endlessly forgiving, they will earn respect, but the opposite happens. The more you tolerate, the more you invite disrespect. The more you excuse betrayal, the more you teach others to betray again. People learn not from your words, but from your boundaries. And when those boundaries are too soft, they stop listening altogether. The wise man shows mercy like a sword in its sheath, visible but controlled. He does not forgive to appear noble, he forgives to maintain order. His mercy restores balance, not chaos. When he punishes, it is to send a message. When he forgives, it is to remind others that he decides who deserves it. His control over mercy makes him both respected and feared. You cannot build a strong kingdom, a strong mind, or a strong life on unconditional forgiveness. There must be judgment, discernment, and a willingness to draw the line. Mercy given to those who deserve punishment breeds rebellion. Mercy given to those who exploit kindness breeds parasites. The ruthless man, therefore, shows mercy rarely and only when it serves a higher purpose. Do not confuse being heartless with being wise. The purpose of ruthlessness is not destruction, but balance. You cannot protect your peace if you forgive everyone who disturbs it. You cannot command respect if you reward those who violate it. To be merciful, you must first be powerful enough to enforce consequence. Only then will your mercy be seen as a gift, not a weakness to exploit. A man who cannot control his emotions will always be ruled by those who can. The world is not kind to those who react. It rewards those who respond. Every outburst, every emotional weakness, every impulsive decision becomes a weapon in the hands of the cunning. The greatest mistake you can make is to believe that expressing everything you feel makes you authentic. In truth, it makes you vulnerable. The powerful man does not deny his emotions. He governs them. He feels anger, fear, jealousy, and pain, but he never allows them to dictate his moves. He uses them as signals, not as masters. Emotion is like fire. When contained, it gives warmth and energy, but when uncontrolled, it burns everything you have built. The weak let others see their fire consume them. The wise keep their flame hidden behind calm eyes. Those who lack control often mistake emotional chaos for passion. They believe that their intensity proves their strength. But the truth is, emotion without discipline is self-destruction disguised as sincerity. Your enemies will provoke you precisely because they know you will react. They understand that once your emotions rise, your logic disappears. Anger clouds judgment. Fear delays action. Guilt makes you submissive. Those who know how to manipulate your emotions do not need to overpower you. They only need to trigger you. Every time you lose your temper, you give away power. Every time you react to an insult, you surrender control. Every time you argue to defend your pride, you expose your weakness. The art of power begins with silence. When you master the ability to remain calm while others are shouting, scheming, or panicking, you create psychological distance. And in that distance, you gain dominance. The man who can control his emotions commands any room he enters. People sense his restraint and mistake it for mystery. They project their own fears and insecurities onto his calmness, wondering what he is thinking, what he knows, what he might do. His silence becomes more powerful than the words of others. He no longer chases control, his control draws others to him. In politics, in war, in personal life, emotional stability is the foundation of power. A ruler who panics when threatened will be easily overthrown. A leader who lets anger dictate his punishment will create rebellion. A man who lets love blind his reason will be manipulated by affection. But a man who can feel everything and still act with calculation becomes untouchable. It is not about being emotionless. That is impossible. It is about mastering the art of delay. When you feel anger, delay your reaction. When you feel fear, delay your retreat. When you feel desire, delay your pursuit. Time weakens the hold of emotion. What seems unbearable in the moment often becomes insignificant after reflection. The one who can wait always wins. You must learn to wear your emotions like armor, felt from within, invisible from without. When people see that they cannot read you, they become cautious. They hesitate. They wonder what you're planning, even when you are planning nothing. That uncertainty gives you leverage. The man who cannot be predicted cannot be controlled. Never show desperation. Never show need. Never show emotional dependence. When you reveal what you crave, whether it is love, validation, or approval, you hand over the strings that control you. Those who appear unbothered hold the upper ground. They set the rhythm, they control the tone, they decide the outcome. The world does not belong to the loudest, it belongs to the calmest. There is a dangerous illusion in modern times that being open with emotions is a sign of strength. But in the Machiavellian sense, openness is a luxury only the powerful can afford. You cannot reveal your feelings to those who may use them against you. You cannot bleed in front of those who enjoy the sight of your wounds. The world is not your friend, it is your arena. Every emotion you display is a move on the board. The question is, whose move does it serve? You must train your face to remain still while your mind calculates. Train your tone to remain steady while your thoughts race. Train your body to remain composed even when you burn inside. Every second of restraint strengthens your control. Every time you resist reacting, you sharpen your authority. The great rulers of history were not emotionless. They were disciplined. They knew how to turn emotion into strategy. Anger became resolve. Fear became caution. Pain became wisdom. They converted weakness into advantage through self-mastery. And that is the difference between the strong and the broken. One controls his emotions like a weapon. The other is controlled by them like a slave. If you cannot master yourself, someone else will. They will pull the strings of your feelings until you dance to their tune. They will whisper the words that spark your anger, your guilt, your longing. And in that moment, you will mistake reaction for freedom. But control is not found in reaction, it is found in restraint. Dependence is the first chain that binds the ambitious. The moment you rely on the goodwill of others, you have already surrendered your freedom. The man who depends on others for his stability, approval, or success becomes a puppet, and those who control him hold the strings of his life. The world disguises dependency as friendship, loyalty, or love, but beneath that illusion lies control. To depend is to weaken your own foundation. To build power, you must learn to stand alone. People often believe that loyalty and goodwill are eternal. They are not. They are conditional, fragile, and easily bought by a better offer. The man who helps you today may betray you tomorrow when his interests change. The ally who stands beside you now will abandon you when your value fades. Dependence makes you blind to this truth. It creates comfort, and comfort dulls the instinct of caution. And when you stop being cautious, you stop being powerful. In politics, in business, in life, the one who controls resources, knowledge, or influence controls those who need them. If you constantly need support, approval, or validation, you will always be at the mercy of others. Every favor you accept is a thread tied to your wrist. Every expectation you hold is a leash waiting to be pulled. A truly powerful man understands this and avoids unnecessary dependence like poison. Even kindness, when accepted without balance, becomes a trap. When someone gives you too much, they expect something in return. Their generosity is not free. It is an investment. When they remind you of all they've done for you, it is not affection, it is debt collection. And the moment you owe them, they own you. You will find yourself acting not out of choice, but out of obligation. That is how dependency transforms strong men into servants. The ruthless understand this law of exchange. They accept help strategically, not emotionally. They take what is necessary, but they never rely on it. They know that alliances are useful, but not sacred. Friends can turn into rivals. Partners can turn into obstacles. The wise man prepares for both. He values relationships but does not attach his survival to them. He understands that loyalty built on convenience will vanish when the winds change. You must become your own source of stability. Your power must come from within, from your discipline, your knowledge, your adaptability. If you depend on others to validate your worth, you will chase approval endlessly. If you depend on others to provide for you, you will live in fear of loss. But when you build your independence, when your strength becomes self-sustaining, you can walk through betrayal and still remain unbroken. The weak believe that depending on others is a sign of trust. The strong know that true trust begins only when dependence ends. Because when you depend on no one, you can see people clearly, not through the haze of need, but through the lens of truth. You can appreciate loyalty without worshipping it. You can accept kindness without expecting it. You can connect with others without surrendering your independence. The man who depends too much loses the ability to decide freely. His choices are filtered through the fear of losing what others provide. He cannot speak truth because he fears disapproval. He cannot act boldly because he fears rejection. He cannot think clearly because he fears isolation. And so he lives not by his own will, but by the invisible expectations of others. He becomes a shadow of himself, pleasing everyone but ruling no one, not even himself. Do not mistake independence for loneliness. Independence is not isolation, it is freedom. It is the ability to walk away without collapsing. It is the power to make decisions that serve your purpose, not someone else's agenda. When you can stand alone, alliances become choices, not lifelines. You stop begging for opportunity and start creating it. You stop asking for permission and start commanding attention. Dependence creates weakness because it attaches your emotions to something outside your control. The moment your happiness, your confidence, or your identity depends on another person, they hold the power to destroy you. People will test that power. They will withdraw their affection, their approval, their support, just to see if you bend. And if you do, they will never see you as an equal again. You must build your fortress within your mind. Learn to provide for yourself emotionally, mentally, and strategically. Let your value come from your results, not from their validation. Let your confidence come from your actions, not from their praise. When your worth no longer depends on what others give or withhold, you become ungovernable. No flattery can blind you. No rejection can destroy you. No betrayal can end you. Dependence is the slow poison that kills great potential. It makes men trade their ambition for comfort and their freedom for approval. The ruthless man sees dependence as the enemy of power. He builds alliances, but he never kneels to them. He listens to advice, but he never obeys blindly. He values connection, but he never lets it define him, because he knows one truth that the weak never learn. Power begins the moment you stop needing anyone to give it to you. The world does not reward honesty. It rewards perception. To survive among men, you must learn the difference between being good and appearing good. Most people are not searching for truth. They are searching for comfort, for appearances that make them feel safe. They crave leaders who look moral, not necessarily ones who are moral. And so the wise man learns the art of illusion. He wears the mask of virtue, but beneath it, he acts with calculation. The common man believes that reputation is built on sincerity. The ruler knows it is built on control. He understands that what people see matters more than what is real. You may have pure intentions, but if you appear weak, they will despise you. You may act ruthlessly, but if you appear just, they will follow you. The world judges not by your actions, but by the story you make them believe. To appear virtuous is to disarm suspicion. It creates trust, even when your moves are strategic. It gives you freedom to act without resistance, because people see what they want to see. They project their ideals onto your calm face and your careful words. This is how power hides in plain sight, through appearance. A wise ruler praises honesty but practices discretion. He speaks of peace while preparing for conflict. He smiles when necessary, but behind that smile, his mind never stops calculating. Deception in this sense is not betrayal, it is protection. The world is full of those who pretend to be pure while secretly scheming. If you walk among them with an open heart, you will be destroyed. But if you learn to play the same game with greater skill, you will not only survive, you will lead. Virtue, when performed wisely, becomes a tool. It shields your intentions until the moment is right to reveal them. Every man must wear a mask, for society demands it. The honest man who refuses to adapt is crushed under the weight of his own transparency. People say they value honesty, but what they truly value is advantage. They love the truth when it flatters them and hate it when it exposes them. Therefore, speak the kind of truth that strengthens your position. Show goodness in public, act strategically in private. This is not hypocrisy. It is intelligence. When you act purely for the sake of morality, you become predictable. When you act strategically, you become untouchable. The goal is not to deceive the innocent, but to protect yourself from the deceitful. The strong learn to shape perception as an instrument of influence. They craft their image with intention, knowing that appearance creates power long before action does. Those who master this art command respect without demanding it. Remember, men do not see with their eyes, they see with their emotions. They believe what feels right, not what is real. Therefore, control what they feel. Control the story they tell about you. Speak in a tone that breeds trust. Use words that echo their values, even when your strategy serves your own. Give them the illusion of righteousness while you move with quiet precision behind the curtain. The masses do not care who is right. They care who looks right. That is why weak men fail in positions of power. They reveal too much. They expose their doubts, their intentions, their insecurities. The wise conceal all of it beneath the armor of confidence and composure. When others believe you are virtuous, they lower their guard. They will speak openly, act carelessly, and reveal their weaknesses, while you continue to calculate in silence. The ability to appear virtuous is a weapon that wins wars without blood. It allows you to manipulate outcomes without confrontation. It allows you to control those who think they are free. The cunning do not force obedience. They inspire it through trust. That trust, once earned, becomes the invisible leash of power. You can lead entire groups of people without them ever realizing it, because they believe in your virtue, not your strategy. Never let your ambition appear selfish. Wrap it in the language of purpose, of service, of morality. When you move for gain, make it appear as if you move for justice. When you seek control, make it appear as if you seek order. This is how great rulers, conquerors, and thinkers have always maintained power. They wear the crown of virtue while wielding the dagger of reason. The people follow them not because they are good, but because they look good doing it. If you try to live in absolute truth, you will be destroyed by those who live in beautiful lies. If you show your motives, you will be attacked. If you show your weakness, you will be used. But if you master the performance of virtue, if you learn to speak kindly while thinking sharply, you will walk through corruption untouched. People will see your smile and believe it represents peace, while never realizing that every movement, every gesture, every word you speak is part of a greater design. To appear virtuous is to disarm envy, suspicion, and resistance. It makes others believe they can trust you, and that belief becomes your shield. To act strategically is to ensure that your decisions serve your interest, not their illusion. The world will always choose appearances over truth, so the man who can control both owns the game. Freedom, the word every man worships, yet few truly possess. Most imagine freedom as comfort, leisure, or the absence of control. But in truth, freedom is not found in the absence of chains. It is found in the ability to break them. It is not given by the world. It is taken from it. And only the ruthless have the strength to take what is rightfully theirs. Listen carefully. The world is designed to enslave the gentle, the indecisive, and the overly kind. You are told to follow rules, to please others, to wait your turn. But the truth is brutal. If you wait, you will be forgotten. If you follow, you will be led into submission. If you seek to please everyone, you will be owned by everyone. Freedom is not achieved through goodness. It is achieved through dominance of self, control of emotions, and the courage to defy what society expects of you. Niccolò Machiavelli once wrote that men are more easily ruled by fear than by love. But what he truly meant was that those who fear nothing become rulers of themselves. The man who no longer fears rejection, failure, or the opinions of others becomes untouchable. And when no one can manipulate you through fear, you are free. But such freedom demands something most men are too weak to endure: ruthless detachment. You must detach from what you cannot control, from those who drain you, and from the illusions that comfort the masses. The path to freedom begins with loss. You must be willing to lose things others cling to: validation, comfort, approval. You must be prepared to walk alone through the silence of disapproval, the whispers of envy, and the loneliness of being misunderstood. Because the world rewards those who fit in, but it bows to those who stand alone. And to stand alone requires the spine of a conqueror and the cold heart of one who has buried his need to be liked. Imagine this: a man who no longer needs praise becomes unstoppable. A man who no longer fears being hated becomes powerful. A man who can walk away from anything, comfort, love, opportunity, that tries to enslave his mind becomes truly free. This is what I call ruthless freedom. It does not mean cruelty for cruelty's sake. It means never allowing the world to dictate who you must be. It is the ultimate rebellion against manipulation. The ruthless path is not about harming others. It is about protecting the kingdom within yourself. It is about saying no to weakness, even when weakness feels good. It is about training your mind to serve your purpose, not your feelings. It is about mastering the art of indifference, because once you stop caring about how the world perceives you, you start shaping the world according to your own will. Most people think ruthlessness destroys peace. In truth, it creates it. Because once you become ruthless with your time, your focus, your emotions, you eliminate every parasite that feeds on your energy. You stop chasing, stop begging, stop explaining, and in that silence, you find power. The kind of power that makes others depend on you, while you depend on no one. This is why only the ruthless are free. They understand that mercy must be measured, that generosity must be earned, and that emotions must serve strategy, not sabotage it. They see the world for what it is, a battlefield disguised as civilization, and they walk it like generals, not soldiers. Every choice they make is deliberate. Every step is a move towards sovereignty. The final truth is this: the world will never hand you freedom. It will offer you comfort, distraction, and illusion, but not freedom. To claim it, you must be willing to bleed for it. You must break your inner chains before you dare to break the world's. You must choose to be feared by your limitations rather than ruled by them. When you reach that state, when you need nothing but your will, you will no longer be a prisoner of the world. You will be the one who shapes it. And that is what it means to be truly ruthless. Conclusion: the ruthless rebirth of power. The world will break you, not because it hates you, but because it tests what you are made of. It bends the weak, consumes the naive, and crowns only those who have sharpened their souls through struggle. Every pain, betrayal, and loss you endure is not punishment. It is training. The world is asking you one question: will you remain its victim, or will you rise as its master? To become ruthless is not to lose your humanity. It is to command it. It is to rise above the childish need for approval, to stop bleeding for those who drain you, to wield your mercy with wisdom rather than weakness. The ruthless man does not hate the world. He understands it. He plays the game by knowing the rules, and then bending them when the moment demands. When you stop apologizing for your strength, when you stop softening your edges to make others comfortable, when you learn to say no without guilt and to stand firm without explanation, the chains around you begin to fall. That is when the transformation begins. The world bows not to the kind-hearted, but to the iron-willed. It respects those who cannot be manipulated, who do not fear solitude, who act from reason rather than emotion. These are the few who achieve what all others merely dream of: freedom, power, peace. So, understand this truth. The world will always test you. It will always push you toward submission. But when you become ruthless enough to push back, to stand unbroken, to rule your emotions and master your destiny, you will no longer lie at the mercy of the world. You will stand above it, unmoved, unbroken, unapologetically free. That is the Machiavellian way.